Yo, what is up, guys? It's Nolan back with episode 3 of the Ball Camp series. Today I'm trying something a bit different for my future ones games. I'm gonna record the gameplay beforehand, and then I'm gonna talk over it. I'm gonna be talking about the gameplay, explaining my thought process, trying to critique my decisions, and learning from watching myself play. I won't always stay on subject. Sometimes I'm gonna want to talk about what's going on in my life and what I'm thinking about and how I'm feeling. Also, want to use this series as a way to give helpful advice that I think of and that I hear, and I want to spread and pass on. That's really what I want to do with these videos. I like to talk while I record my games, but I get distracted way too easily and stop talking in the middle of a sentence or won't make sense at all because I'm so focused on the game. Today, I just wanted to talk about what I'm going to call the video Open Nets. Open Nets and Heartaches. There's a lot of stuff I've had time to think about, and I need an outlet, honestly. As for Open Nets, I'll most likely have plenty of time to talk about that after I go into the Heartaches. But basically, I just want to talk about my last relationship, and I don't know. I just feel like how it ended was really stupid. But I mean, I guess I should start to where I feel like it all started going wrong. I feel like I noticed a change in our relationship around like Christmas time. I feel like Christmas time, which is my ex's favorite holiday, was just a super big deal for her. And I think I think that after like Christmas came and went, that was just like so exciting that I don't know that maybe our relationship didn't seem as exciting as that. I don't know really how to word that. I was struggling there, but I don't know. I definitely noticed a big difference between us after that. It was like she wasn't as happy with me anymore in the relationship, and honestly noticed it pretty quick. Like sometime in January, um, I noticed like the change between us, and like for me, that like affects me a bit more than most people. Cause like I noticed that change, and then I want to do something about it and fix it, and like I want to change it. I want to make it better and remedy the situation. But at first I kind of just like let it be. I didn't want to bring it up if it wasn't a problem. So I just waited and waited, and um, as time passed, I felt like it started just getting worse and worse between us. Like we just were drifting more and more apart, and over the course of like that month, it was like it wasn't like we weren't talking at all anymore. It wasn't like the worst thing ever, but I just noticed that like conversations weren't as happy as they used to be, and I don't know. It definitely started seeming like from her end, conversations were becoming mentally tasking and like I don't know, just a lot to deal with for her, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really say anything at first, but after like a month or two, I let that go by, and I brought it up after about a month, I'd say. And I told her, I was like, listen, I feel like we're not as close as we used to be. I feel like there's a difference in our relationship. And I know like the honeymoon phase wears off and everything, and it don't last forever. And that's not what I was really expecting, but it didn't seem like we weren't in the honeymoon phase anymore. It seemed like I guess she was falling out of love with me. But nice voice crack there. But yeah. So I felt like she was like falling out of love with me and all that. And I explained that to her. I was like, I felt like there's a change between us and we were drifting apart, and I don't know, that like conversations weren't as good as they used to be. Anyway, after I brought that up, she really said like, or she said that she really felt like that there was nothing wrong between us and that everything was still okay and that like conversations were still the same they always had been. And I kind of just took that as face value and accepted that, and like I didn't really worry about it too much, but it was like still as time went on, I still noticed like there's definitely a divide forming between us. And I did try to do stuff all the time to like fix it. I tried taking her out on dates more often, and I tried doing some of our favorite stuff more often, like taking her to her favorite dessert place and taking her to our favorite place to eat more often, and just hanging out more the way we used to. And even after doing stuff like that, and like planning a special like 1 year anniversary and stuff like that, it still just definitely seemed like not worth it. It definitely just seemed like I was wasting my time, and I knew that from the very beginning after I initially noticed the gap and the bridge forming between us. Sorry about that background noise I had to cut out. I noticed as time went on that we were just growing further and further apart no matter what I did. Over the course of like the last 5 months of our relationship, I don't want to say I constantly, but I guess like every 2 weeks or so I'd bring it up and I would try and talk it out and say like, hey, I know you're working on it, but I still don't see a change between us or a difference between us, and things definitely aren't getting any better. And it didn't help that at the time she started a new job, and whenever she was getting, whenever she actually had gotten the job and gotten accepted, she had to go and get a uniform, or she had to go get pants for her uniform. And I mentioned to her, I was like, please don't get anything tight, because she has a pretty decent sized butt. So I was like, don't wear anything too tight, because it's gonna be revealing. And she got mad and said, well, I can't help how tight pants are gonna be. And I made a little comment saying like, I mean, you could wear something a bit more loose. And then I don't know, I wasn't really like rude about it or anything. I simply explained it as voicing my concern that like other guys are gonna be looking, and I'm not worried about her per se, but I'm worried about other guys looking, of course. But yeah, after I said that didn't go over too well, and that didn't make her too happy. But I guess like after that, it was like she started her first day of work a few days later, and on the very first night of her coming home from her job, she's telling me about her coworker, and she's saying that her coworker is so nice and so helpful, and that he's funny, and that he's kind, and I don't know. It's just, as soon as a girl says like another dude is funny, that's red flags. Like 100% without a doubt, that's red flags. And that's what that told me right there. And that made me even more done with the relationship, and I still wanted to break up with her right there, but I have too big of a heart. I really didn't want to break up with her and hurt her feelings, and then I didn't want to break up with her over nothing either, like if I wasn't 1,000,000% sure. But yeah, she came home day one talking about her coworker and how he's so nice and so friendly and blah blah blah, the usual spiel that you get. And I was really nice about it, and I was like, oh, that's cool, blah, blah. I'm glad that you actually have somebody that you're going to be able to get along with at work, and work ain't going to be as bad for you, and you won't have to deal with like a bunch of idiots all the time. And I was like treating it as a good thing for her, at least work will be good for her. But it was just day after day that she worked. Like each day that she worked, every time she'd come home without a doubt telling me about her coworker. And she wouldn't be telling me about what they did or anything. She'd just be telling me about how nice he is and how kind he is. And anytime that like she could possibly bring up something about him, she would. And that's like such a shitty thing to do in a relationship, especially. Like, if you already didn't like me anymore and you clearly like this dude, why are you gonna string me along for another 3 months? I don't know. It's a wild world. But she's coming home daily talking about her coworker and how great and amazing, how nice he is and everything. And after about like a month, like it was well over a month. It was about 2 months of hearing that constantly. I stopped responding positively to it at all. I just basically stopped responding. Anytime she brought up his name and about how nice he was and about how great he was, I wouldn't say a word. And what didn't help too is not long after she started her job and the coworker that I'm talking about, they would play Fortnite together all the time. And they would play till very late hours of the night. She would have work the next day and she'd still be up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning playing Fortnite with him. And like, I don't know, everything that she was doing, like I already knew what she was doing. And I already knew what all of it meant and all it was leading to, but I guess I hoped. Yeah, that's my problem. I hoped. I sat there and I really wanted it to be different. I did not want to accept the harsh reality that my girlfriend that I do everything for and that I sacrifice so much of my own like care for myself. Like I'd sacrifice so much for her, and she clearly doesn't love me anymore, and she's clearly falling in love with another dude right in front of my eyes. And it was just hurtful to see that, and it was like seeing that and not being able to say anything to her about that. Like I had nobody to talk to about it, and I mean I just had to sit there, and it's upsetting. It really is. Sitting there having your girl talk to another man behind your back, and then you know it the whole time, but she thinks that she's being so slick and like that she'll get away with it and that she's not hurting you and like and that she's not doing anything wrong. Cause that's what my ex said. She literally told me that I don't feel bad about talking to him. I didn't do anything wrong. She really thinks that she didn't do anything wrong. And she was over there trying to claim that they're not dating and they're not gonna date and all that. And look at where they are right now. They're over there dating and shit. Like, I'm not stupid. You really think that I wasn't gonna know? It's not that hard to figure out that you and him were gonna date. I saw that happening day one that you came home talking about him from your job. But they would constantly play Fortnite together, and she would play with like him and his friends, but if they were playing together, it was him and her till 3 and 4 a.m. almost every night, just talking to each other, staying up for hours. They'd be in the Fortnite lobby for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, just talking to each other by themselves. It would just be them two in the lobby talking to each other, and like for a couple hours at a time, they'd play for a couple hours and all that. And again, that's red flags, obviously. I guess it was 3 weeks before she broke up with me that we went on a vacation with her family. And it was like a planned vacation. Like, I already knew about this vacation from the very start of our relationship. And I genuinely did not want to go from the very start. The only reason I ever agreed to go is because they had already bought my ticket before I even had a chance to say yes or no. And like, they bought my ticket before I fully agreed to going. I told them that I'm not sure if I'll be able to afford that, because it's a pretty expensive vacation to go to Universal. And I told them I don't know if I'm gonna be able to afford that. And they're like, it's okay, you can just pay us back later. And they bought my ticket. So that locked me in to pay them back no matter what. Anyway, so like 3 weeks before she broke up with me, we had like our vacation that we had planned long ago, or that they had planned and I got dragged into. And during that vacation, the first day, I knew how expensive it was going to be because, one, my ticket was $900. And my ticket is $900, and I already knew food was going to be expensive down there. I was thinking like I'd be spending about 60 to 70 bucks a day for food. I was spending more than $60 and $70 per day on food alone. And I asked her after the first day, because the very first night I got my bill for our meal, and the bill itself was $70. And of course I have to tip our waiter, so it ends up being over $80 for our bill. And I actually made it like 90 because I wasn't gonna give the dude a bad tip, and I always tip well. But so it ended up being $90 for like our very first meal. And I told her that night, I was like, can we please go to the store tomorrow and pick up some food for the week? I was like, I'll get the food just for me. I'll still take you out every night. I don't mind doing that, but I need to cut down the cost a little bit. I was like, I can't afford this the whole week. And she straight up looked at me and like almost with like I don't know, it was like she was angry at me for even saying that. She got upset at me and she was like, no, we're not taking my car. It's already parked and it's not moving. And she said it in a pretty rude tone. And it was after I had already been nice about everything. I wasn't upset, and I wasn't angry at all that I had just spent $100 on food that night. I don't know. I wasn't worried about that at all, but like besides spending $100 for the rest of the week. But she told me that, and I was just like, I kind of just sat there stunned. I was like, really? You really gonna talk to me that way after I was just being completely nice about the situation and asking politely if we could please go to the store, and I will get food just for me, and I'll still take you out to eat, and you can eat out at any restaurant you want every night for the whole week. And I don't know, and you're gonna be mad at me for even asking to use the car to go down to the store, which was also only 3 minutes down the road, or 3 miles down the road, my bad. Yeah, like from the hotel that we were staying at, it was 3 miles down the road, and we could have just gone real quick, and heck, we could even walked. And I mean, I wasn't gonna go by myself completely alone. I mean, she had her whole family there. I mean, nobody else was gonna go with me. They didn't give enough. They did not care enough about me to go with me. But anyway, so she told me no, and that we're not going to the store and all that. And I was just like, okay. And for the rest of the week, I wasn't very happy. Because one, she tells me that we're not going to the store, and basically she's mad at me for wanting to save money. And then two, we're waking up at 7 a.m. and then going to sleep past 12 o'clock at night. We'd literally be going to sleep at 1 to 2, or like from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. like every night. And it was because we'd wake up at 7 a.m., go to the park for like 5 hours, 6 hours. We'd come back around like 12, 1, 2, chill at the hotel room for like an hour or two, and then we'd go back out to the park for the rest of the day. Then we'd go and get dinner, and then we'd come back and shower, and that would already be 12 o'clock by that point, or 1 by that point by the time we get out of the shower and everything. So not only am I not getting more than 5 hours of I was getting like 6 hours of sleep. Let's just say like generous. I was getting 7 hours of sleep a night. So, and I'm still going around amusement park, walking around all day, and spending a lot of my money daily just on food. Anyway, I wasn't too happy about that, and I kind of did let it affect the vacation a bit. And it wasn't just that. I was ill from waking up early. I was ill from spending so much money daily, and I was ill from my needs being completely neglected. And after being nice about it too. Anyway, as the week goes on, it's about like 4 days into the vacation, I ended up getting kind of upset at her, or pretty upset at her. I didn't yell, because she sits there and she says that I yelled loudly, and I yelled in front of everybody, which I didn't. We were at a restaurant, and she was asking me like why I was so upset, and I was like, dude, I'm just tired of my needs being neglected and stuff like that. And as soon as I start talking about it, in the middle of me talking, she says, "Oh God, here we go with this again." And I just stopped with what I was saying. I looked at her with like the most amount of hate that I've looked at anybody with in a long time. And I was like, don't say another effing word to me right now. And I went into the restaurant, picked up my food. I ate my food, and while I was eating, I went over to her and I gave her the cherry out of my milkshake, which she likes cherries, and that was me trying to say sorry while I was eating. And she actually took that as like an apology, and she knew. And after I got done eating, we started walking again, and I was like, I'm sorry for getting upset. I was like, that was just extremely hurtful what you just said. And she started talking about how she didn't mean it in a mean way, and like, I don't know. She definitely did not give a fuck, but I digress. Anyway, so basically, that was me yelling at her. Was all I said was, don't say another word to me, and I honestly said it under my breath. I didn't even say it loud, and nobody was around us, because I wasn't gonna like get fussy with her in front of other people. I mean, that's private business. But anyway, yeah, so I got upset and I fussed at her for saying that, and then I apologized after the fact, and all was good. And honestly, we did talk after that, and I was saying like, I don't want to lose her, and like, I don't want like our relationship to end, and it's like, I don't want to be mad at her, especially over like stuff so small. But like, it might be small stuff, but neglect isn't an easy thing to forget. Like, my needs were never met, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know, I had to change a lot of the way I was to make her happy. And I mean, it destroyed me a bit, like, over time. Like, it made me lose part of myself over time. But yeah, we had like a good conversation after I fussed at her and after I ate. And well, it wasn't much of a conversation, it was more of me explaining how I felt, and her genuinely sitting there and listening, and like actually paying attention to what I have to say. And it felt good, it really did, because it genuinely seemed like she was paying attention and like she wanted to change right there. And so that made me happy to see like she wanted to change. And so the rest of the vacation honestly went pretty good. I wasn't upset at her anymore, and I was happier during the vacation because one, during the vacation, another thing that had also been upsetting me is the fact that like she genuinely could not hold a conversation with me for the life of her. Like, I guess she was so out of love at this point, and she probably hated me. I don't doubt it, and she probably just found me disgusting at that point. But it was like each day, and it was like before this anyway, but it was like worse at Universal. Like, I would try to have conversations with her, and it'd just be like, yeah, okay, and she would just nod her head and not like really respond or like really take time to like care about any, or like show that she cares about anything that I'm saying. And it made me upset because with her sister and her brother and her mom and her dad and even her dang 6-year-old nephew, if he started talking, her 6-year-old nephew, she'd drop whatever she's doing. She'd stop looking at her phone to pay him attention over me. And it's like, it's not about paying me attention. It's not about that. But whenever it's like that 24/7, it's definitely like something you're gonna notice. It's not something that you can overlook. Like, if that was like every now and then, whatever, I'm never gonna be upset about that. I would never say a word about that. But the fact that it was like every time we'd hang out over text, on Discord, no matter what, it would just be dry, short conversations, and she wouldn't ever actually talk to me. Sometimes we would just sit there in complete silence for like hours. There was one time we got into a Discord call, and I purposely didn't say anything for a long time. We got in the call, I was like, hey, and then, how was your day, blah, blah, blah. And then we started playing games, and I didn't say a single word, and she didn't question it. It was like 2 hours into the call before I said anything, and then I started talking 2 hours into the call like it was normal, and I mean, I still wasn't getting met with conversation. She was still being like pretty silent, but it didn't make a difference. It didn't seem to make a point or anything. But yeah. So during Universal, I was still spending like $100 per night, or almost $100 per night on food. And while I was spending that, like by the end of the vacation, my ticket included, I spent over $1,700 on the vacation. I spent closer to like $1,800, $1,900, but I digress. So the vacation was extremely expensive, and then it was like a big sting, I guess. Like after the vacation, she tells me, the next vacation we can go to the store and get food for the week and blah blah blah. And I'm sorry, but that like again made me mad, because how does that, like, that doesn't help me anymore. I've already spent the $800 on the food for the week. Like, how does that help me at this point? Does that give me any of my $800 back? No. So why even mention that? But I told her, I was like, I was nice about it. I was like, thank you. I was like, I'm glad that you're thinking about that, and that like that you actually care about the fact that that was a very expensive vacation, especially for a dude that's in college and working a part-time job. But after vacation, we get back, and I notice it was like the day that we got back. She went to go grab a drink, and she left her phone on the sofa, and her phone buzzed. And naturally, I look down, because like the phone buzzing, obviously you're gonna look. I look down, and I see it's a message from her coworker. And immediately, and the message is on Instagram, and immediately I'm like, she hasn't told me a single thing about talking to him. And initially I knew she was like talking to him like through through her workplace app, and like that's how like she was talking to him and communicating with him, and I figured that's how that she was texting him to play Fortnite, but they were texting each other on Instagram behind my back. And so I didn't look through her messages then and there, but I went on my phone and I looked at her Instagram page, and I searched up her followers. He wasn't one of her followers. Then I searched up who she was following. She wasn't following him. And I was just like, okay, I guess that's like, I don't know. That really made me feel like that was the end of the relationship there. And like, I don't know. I was already so done for like the last couple months of my relationship, because I already knew everything that was going on, but like I was just hoping and praying I could change it and make it better, and that it's not true. But yeah, so that's sending red flags that she don't follow him and he doesn't follow her. And the fact that also before Universal, there was one time I was like trying to show her a meme, and as I'm showing her the meme, I go to open up Instagram, and she immediately, and this is like before the vacation and everything, like a couple days before, and she was like she panicked. She like literally was like, she reached for her phone and tried to grab it out of my hand, and I just held it tight in my hand and I didn't let her take it, and I didn't look or anything, but I was just like, what are you freaking out about? I was like, what's wrong? And she just sat there in silence and didn't say anything. I was like, I was just pulling up the meme like I told you, because I had already told her beforehand that I was pulling up this meme. But yeah, I tell her that, and she just sat there in silence, and that's like even more red flags. But anyway, it was the next weekend. I was supposed to go over there and hang out, spend the night, and take her nephew to a trampoline park the next morning. So I had already thought out and planned while she slept to take her phone and look through her Instagram messages between him and her. I go and I look through the messages between him and her, and he's sitting there being very flirty with her, and like it's just the nature of the things like he's saying is definitely flirty. Like I don't have any screenshots of it sadly because I was gonna take screenshots and everything, but she deleted it after I told her, and yeah, so all the evidence is gone. So I was reading through the messages, and he was sending her flirtatious messages, and she was sending him like the emoji blushing with like the hand covering its mouth, and they're sending each other flirtatious stuff like that back and forth. She wasn't really being flirty, but he would say something flirty, and she'd respond with that emoji, and she's sitting there, or he was sitting there telling her about like anime and like his action figures and stuff, and she was telling him how like cool it was and how awesome it is, and like asking questions about it all. Which, not that I'm into action figures, but I do like watching anime a little bit. And anytime I ever brought up watching anime, she's like, "Oh, anime's so stupid. Anime's so this. Anime's so that. It's a terrible like genre. Blah blah blah. Anime's so bad." And then she's over there telling him like, "Oh no, that's so cool. Anime's awesome. Blah 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 blah," which I thought was really funny. But yeah, he sent her a shirtless pic, and she just responded with, "Hey yo, where's your shirt at?" And then the blushing emoji with the hand covering its mouth. And I was just like, really, really. And I was like reading all this while she was asleep, and she started talking about our relationship to him and like how I'm always upset with her, how I'm always angry at her, which just simply is not the case at all. I was upset in our relationship 1,000,000%, but I never was upset at her. There's be times I'd be upset, and whenever I get upset, I need to be alone. I just need to be by myself for like 15-20 minutes to cool down. Nobody bother me, don't text me, don't call me, don't talk to me for like 20-30 minutes. Like that's really what I need, just to chill out, and then I can come back and I can talk fine, and I won't be upset anymore. Whenever I would need time like that, time to myself, she would constantly just pressure me to keep talking, keep talking, keep talking, and it would like drive me to a point of getting upset where I'd be like I'd say like harsh things because I just wanted to be left alone at the time. And like whenever I'm mad like that, yeah, I'm gonna say harsh things because I'm being pestered like more and more and more. But anyway, yeah, she was like talking about our relationship and how I wasn't or how I was so like mean to her and whatnot. And yeah, he quote unquote tried to be like, "Oh, maybe that's just the way he is, blah blah blah." But yeah, obviously he knew what he was doing, and she knew what she was doing. So yeah, I was gonna take screenshots or like screen record it and send it to myself, but I was worried about her waking up while I was doing that, and then I was also worried about like it sending him a notification because I don't use Instagram like that. I don't know if they've updated it at all. I was worried about it sending a notification that I recorded the chat or that I took screenshots of the chat or anything. So I didn't get any screenshots of anything. But I went back to sleep. I put her phone back, went back to sleep. The next morning, acted like everything was fine. I just acted like everything was fine the whole day, and really the whole day I just sat there and I studied her. I was just looking at her with disgust and hatred. Like seriously, like she's sitting there lying straight to my face about this dude and acting like she don't talk to him at all, and they'd only play Fortnite together, and there's nothing going on between them. But it was like later that night we get back to her house and everything, and I was just done at that point. I stopped caring and I was just angry. So I stopped talking. I had a mad look on my face, and she went to go take a shower, and she texted me while she was in there, "What's wrong?" I just straight up texted her back. I was like, "You like your coworker?" And then she's typing. It goes away. Typing, goes away. Typing. No, I don't. And that's like the text I get. So obviously she don't know what to say. Obviously she just got caught red-handed, and now she don't know what to do. But anyway, she's like trying to say, "No, I don't, blah blah." And I was like, "I'm done." I was like, "I'm going home." And she was like, "Stay there, just please talk to me." And I was really about to leave, and then she got out of the shower and she came into her room and she started crying like, I don't like him at all. He means nothing to me. The typical stuff that they're gonna say whenever they get caught, you know? He means nothing to me. I'll block him if you want me to. I'll never talk to him again. And I told her, I was like, don't say anything to him. I was like, if you block him, that's sus. If you say something to him, that's sus. I was like, don't say a single word to him about this. And it was like literally 2 days later, she tells me, I told Sean about us, or about you finding our messages and everything. And then she sends me the screenshots, and she's like, Nolan found our messages, Nolan this, Nolan that, Nolan saw blah blah blah, and Nolan saw you send a shirtless pic, and Nolan didn't like that, and putting everything on me. And she says, I'm really sorry, I don't want this to affect our friendship at the end. Fuck you, you're a complete bitch. You're a terrible person. Like, if you ever watch this video and you get this far into the video, I really hope you know that you are a terrible, terrible, terrible person to do this to somebody. Especially somebody that loved you as much as they did and that gave you as much as they did. But she's sitting there crying that she'll block them and everything, and yeah, 2 days later she's sitting there texting him, I'm sorry, I don't want this to affect our friendship, Nolan this, Nolan that. And I don't know, it was just, that was like the very last week. That was like 2 days in, and then we had like 3 days left that we were technically together. And she I don't know, we didn't really talk too much that week. We played the game together like we normally do, but didn't talk much, didn't really say much to each other. And then she knew I was like still upset about the situation, which I'm not gonna stop being upset. No person is gonna stop being upset over that situation overnight. Especially the fact that you want to lie about it straight to my face after I caught you red-handed with all the evidence pointing in your direction that you like are talking to another dude behind my back. But yeah, she broke up with me saying that she can't trust me because I looked through her phone, and that I was controlling, which was my favorite one. She explained that I was controlling by opening up car doors for her and opening up doors to like restaurants and buildings and stores for her, and getting drinks and stuff for her while she was eating dinner. And not ever did she once say that she didn't like me doing that. Not once. So if that was genuinely a problem like she was claiming it was, she could have said something, and she should have said something. And I really tried to make it feel like in our relationship that like she can speak her mind. Like, I never wanted her to feel like too scared to speak, but I guess somehow she did. And she used that as an excuse of to break up with me, that I was too controlling by opening up car doors and getting drinks for her while she ate, and also that I corrected her a lot, which I will say I do, but I never did it in what I would say is a rude or mean way. I would always gently try and be like, hey, like, if like, because I would want somebody to do the same for me. I wouldn't want to go around spouting some nonsense and wrong information to a bunch of people, and then they know it's wrong and they don't say anything, and I just look like a complete idiot. I would hate for that to happen to me. So whenever I see a situation like that that could be potentially happening, I try and say, hey, like, well, this is like actually this and that. And then I guess I was just I was mansplaining too much, which again could have been told that I was being too correcting. But anyway, all it was just excuses for her reasonings that she broke up with me. It was just all excuses. She is the one that was talking to another dude behind my back. She's the one that did that for over 2 months. She's the one that can't be a loyal person in a relationship and can't be trusted. So at the end of the day, as much as it sucks what she did to me, it doesn't hurt as bad as I thought it would. Like, even after she broke up with me, like, I was really sad, but it still did not hurt anything near like I thought it would. Like, maybe because I had seen this coming for over 5 months. Maybe because I genuinely saw the proof in front of me that it was happening. It helped me get over it a little bit easier. But I'm just glad that I don't have to deal with that anymore. I don't have to deal with the neglect of how I feel and the just the general not caring of what I need in the relationship. Because anytime I ever brought up whatever I needed and like saying that the relationship ain't the way it used to be, it was a problem. I was turning it in. Anytime I'd like bring up our relationship, I was turning it into an attack against her. I was turning it into an argument, and I was blaming her for stuff going wrong in our relationship, which I would sit there point blank and explain that I'm not blaming her for anything. I would literally say, I'm not blaming you for anything. I'm not trying to put anything on you. I'm just simply stating that there is a difference between us, and I don't know what to do to fix it, and I'm just want to fix like what's wrong between us. I just want everything to be back the way it used to be. That's what I kept saying like throughout this whole time, and yeah. But honestly, that's the end of it. There's probably plenty of stuff that I'm missing. I'm well over 40 minutes, so I appreciate you guys watching this episode of the ball cam series. I hope this video style is better for you guys to watch. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace, y'all.